What's up, world? Hey, gardeners. Welcome back to the Big City Gardener YouTube channel. I'm your host, Timothy Hammond, the Big City Gardener. One of the keys to having a successful garden is knowing what to plant when. We call that planting seasonally. Today, in this short video, I'm going to walk you through what are some of the best plants that you can grow in each season. Once we're equipped with that knowledge, we'll be ready to make the most out of any and every gardening season. So, let's get started. Let's kick it off by talking about a lot of people's favorite gardening season, and that's the spring season. Now, when most people think about gardening, the first season that comes to mind is spring. And why is that? Well, spring is the season of renewal. We're just coming out of that dreary, drafty, cold winter, and we're starting to see a little bit of sunlight and feel some of that warmth. And there's nothing more attractive to a gardener than warm soil after a winter. So, when it comes to spring gardening, early in the spring, think about planting a lot of the same crops that you're able to grow in the fall. So that includes your leafy greens, your peas, your brassicas, and even some cabbage. Now, as the spring warms up, we're gonna wanna shift our focus into things that start to produce larger fruits. And by that, I mean things like peppers, tomatoes, and even squash. The next season is summer. In my opinion, summer is the season that makes or breaks gardeners. You start off loving the warm temperatures that the spring provides, but then those warm temperatures turn into some intense heat. And if you're not dedicated, you will quickly forget about your garden outside. Summertime is the time to plant all of your heat-loving vegetables. That includes things like melons, squash, peppers, tomatoes, okra, certain kind of peas. We can't forget about one of my favorites, which happen to be cucumbers. Summer also means warmer temperatures. So that means be prepared to water your garden more often, and better yet, be prepared to apply a thick layer of mulch to your garden to help alleviate some of those warm temperatures. Also, in the summertime, don't forget about your herbs and your flowers. Not only will you be able to harvest herbs like this oregano all throughout the summer, but these flowers help attract pollinators to your garden, which will in turn help increase your pollination rate, and you should see an increase in your yield. Now, this next season happens to be my favorite gardening season, and that's fall. As those sizzling summer temperatures start to dwindle, now we can shift our focus to cooler temperatures, and that means fall gardening. And when I think of fall gardening, I think of leafy greens and root crops. So that includes my lettuce, my kales, my chards, mustards, collards, broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, and a whole lot more. Fall gardening season is my favorite because now I'm able to plant a plethora of things in my garden again. During the summertime, my options are extremely limited. But when the fall season rolls back around, it's like I have a second spring season. So anything that I can grow in the spring, I can grow it in my fall garden down here in Zone 9. And finally, we have winter gardening. During the winter, you're gonna wanna grow things that can handle extremely cold temperatures. So that means a lot of root crops and as well as some hardy leafy greens. One of the best things about living down here in Zone 9 happen to be our mild winter temperatures. Thanks to these mild temperatures, I'm able to grow the same crops from September all the way through to February. It's almost like we have two seasons, hot and cool. But if you're not lucky enough to live somewhere like Zone 9 where we have these mild winter temperatures, then wintertime is the time for you to shift your focus to indoor gardening. Try growing herbs in your kitchen or on a windowsill. Or better yet, let's get a jump start on our spring garden and go ahead and order and start our seeds inside. In order to do that, you're gonna need some soil, some seeds, and a few lights. If you don't know much about seed starting, make sure you check out this video right here, because it will give you all of the information you need to know to become an expert seed starter. And that's it, a quick, easy, seasonal guide to make sure that you're in your garden year round. Now, why is it important to pay attention to the season? That's because not all crops can grow in the same temperatures. Some crops, like our spring and summer crops, they need warmer temperatures in order to grow and thrive, or better yet, to even sprout in the garden. And since we can't expect things like tomatoes or peppers to sprout outside in our garden during the winter time, that means we need to know exactly when to plant these things in our garden, so that way we're able to receive the biggest harvest possible. There's nothing worse than planting something at the wrong time of the year, spending all this time caring for it, feeding it, and watering it, only to realize that it's not going to thrive or produce anything. So let's not waste our time in the garden. Let's make sure that we're paying attention to the seasons and growing accordingly. And that's all I have for you today. Until next time, you know what I want you to do. Go outside, get your hands in the dirt, and just grow it. As for me, I'm out of here. I have plants to plant. Peace.